Hello, I'd like to talk to you today about generative AI and research ethics. AI, artificial intelligence, is not just one thing. It encompasses machine learning, generative AI, and a bunch of other stuff too. Much of this has huge potential, but generative AI in particular is also raising a whole host of ethical problems for researchers. So I'm going to run through some of those in this video. One is language. Generative AI is disproportionately trained on English, and it doesn't function at all in thousands of languages. Also, the language of artificial intelligence and related phenomena deliberately misleads. So, for example, the cloud makes it sound like something nebulous up in the sky when really we're talking about massive data centers right down here on Earth. Hallucinations are phenomena that are not real, but the mistakes that generative AI makes are very real and are presented with the same amount of confidence as the correct information. That makes it difficult even for experts to identify the mistakes from the true information. Generative AI also, unfortunately, enables cheating and fraud. There are methods of detecting this now, but as so often, the methods of detecting cheating and fraud lag behind the methods of cheating and fraud. There has always been cheating and fraud in research, in scholarly work, in student assignments, right across the board. AI isn't creating this, but it does enable it to be done in some ways that weren't possible before. Also, generative AI is very much built on exploitation, even you could call it theft. So, for example, I have over 11 years of posts on my own blog, and I'm sure those will have been used to train AI. One of my publishers, Routledge, which is part of Taylor & Francis, which is part of Informa, a global multinational, made a £10 million deal with Microsoft without any consent from authors or even telling us about it, to enable Microsoft to use Routledge texts to train its generative AI. I'm glad to say that university presses are now taking a more ethical approach, licensing and sharing any proceeds of interaction with companies that run artificial intelligence. But even worse than all of this, artificial intelligence risks and actually causes real damage, up to and including death of people. You can find out more about this if you're interested in the MIT Artificial Intelligence Risk Repository. I'll put the link below. At the time of recording, they have identified over 1,700 risks and over 1,200 actual harms, and they have a graph showing the rise in the level of harms, and it's rising really rapidly. They break it down into categories such as misinformation and fraud and so on, so you can see where most of the problems are occurring. It's a very interesting website. I have to say, in the interests of balance, I'd rather like it if someone set up a website logging the benefits of AI, because I think there are benefits as well as harms. But these are not the only ethical concerns. There is another huge one, which is the impact of generative AI on the environment. This comes through data centers. AI requires a lot more power, which requires a lot more water, than standard computing, or most of it anyway. And the thing is, data centers are so distant from our own use of AI on our own laptops that it makes it hard for us to think about. But we need to think about it because it's very real and it's growing. Data centers are currently often located in areas where power and water are already scarce, because those are areas where usually poor people live who don't necessarily have the resources to fight back. But in some areas, people are fighting back and are saying, if you're going to make a data center here, you need to cool it with air, not water, which is possible, more expensive, but perfectly possible. But all of us as researchers, if we're ethical researchers, we need to think about the environmental impact of our work, even if it's not immediately visible to us. So those are just a few of the ethical issues that are raised by generative AI. There are many more, but I hope you found this interesting, and I hope that it will inform your own work for the future. Thank you.